All right, welcome back everyone to Get the Net. Jamie Bruce here with a quality show lined up for you tonight. I know I say that every time, but we've got a special treat in store for you. Stick around and we'll see you on the other side of the intro. Welcome to Get the Net, a fishing podcast that takes a deep dive into competitive events, fishing news, tips, tactics, and most importantly, interviews with some of the most interesting and in-tuned anglers from Canada to the central U.S. We're leaving no stone unturned to bring you the most raw and authentic dock talk. My name is Jamie Bruce. While my resume says bass, my frying pan says walleye, I'm no stranger to the multi-species realm. Whether you're puttering on tackle, driving the bus, cutting the grass, or killing time in a 9 to 5, we'll try to give you something in every episode to take with you on the water, or at the very least, bring you a few laughs. All right, welcome back, everyone. I told you I'd be more regular now that we, have a little bit more time and we're able to hop in the saddle here behind the mic a little more often. And our guest tonight is a special one. I'm looking forward to talking to him. It's Daniel Stagg of Stag on the Line. He's from the north. Only met him once briefly at the Winnipeg ice fishing show walleye filet derby. Heard a few good stories about him. Started watching his YouTube a little bit. He's a funny dude. He's from way up north, and he's pretty dialed on the winter camping and everything that comes along with it, and on how ice fishing looks in the north and everything like that. So we got a bunch of cool ass stories, easy to talk to, gonna have you some laughs. And this is part of the reason I started this podcast, is because I was kind of sick of just listening to the same old Bass Pro talk over and over again, and there's a lot of scripted answers and everything like that. And you don't get that with these guys. I don't know if Daniel's been on a podcast before, but I haven't, heard any with him. So that's kind of the beauty. I like bouncing around from, guest to guest, and people I actually want to talk to, not just people that might give you good ratings or anything like that. And usually that's how you end up in the scripted answer, vanilla universe. And obviously, if you listen to the show, you'll know that is not what we're about. So stick around. He'll be right up here. Couple things I got to remind you about first. Lake of the Woods Sports headquarters is having a massive Black Friday sale. There's plenty of deals going on. Strike Master ice augers. You can get the 40 volt Pro for $6.99, the 24 volt for $5.59 with a bonus 4 amp 24 volt battery. 13 tickle sticks from last year are 30% off, and Widowmakers from last year. That's a hell of a buy there. And while you're there, check out the new Wicked Pro ice fishing rods. They're designed for life in the north. And check out Powerhouse batteries. This is going to be a more ice fishing related podcast, so we'll talk about the ice lineup. That 18 amp 16 volt lithium, that's going to suit most people for what they need. High power, small package. Check those out at Lake of the Woods Sports and powerhouselithium.com. That's going to be it. We're high endo now. I'm going to play a couple ads here before Stag comes on. She's really taken shape, the old podcast. So we'll see you on the other side with Stag here, and hope you enjoy it. And while you're here, I got to ask you, I hate asking, but I got to do it. Hit the like button if you're already subscribed. If you're not a subscriber, hop on down, click subscribe. I look through the numbers and see that like 75% of the listeners aren't subscribed. I equate it to not putting your shopping cart back when you're in the parking lot. It's one of those things. You don't have to do it. You're not going to jail if it doesn't happen. You're not getting charged or anything, but it is the right thing to do. And I appreciate everyone who's done so far. Like I said, if you're already subscribed, drop a comment or hit the like button. And thanks everyone for the support. Here's Daniel Stagg. If you're looking for an incredible fishing destination, check out the Wabigoon chain of lakes in Dryden, Ontario. The area offers some of the finest open water and ice fishing multi-species opportunities in North America. The city of Dryden offers all the comforts you need for a memorable experience. BT Fishing is a northern-born, small-town tackle brand. Focusing on innovating rather than imitating, BT has left a mark on all levels of competitive fishing, from walleye tournaments all the way to the Bassmaster Classic. The full BT lineup is comprised of innovative tackle, carefully crafted using the highest quality components. Check out the Smeltinator jig, Elite Marabou jig, Crusher jig, Clack Shot, Clean jig, Smeltinator underspin and more at sportsheadquarters.ca. We ship across Canada and the US. Use promo code GETTHENET for 10% off all products in the BT lineup. This outdoor content has been brought to you in part by Nordic Point Lodge. Located in northwestern Ontario, Nordic Point Lodge offers some of the finest fishing Canada has to offer. Whether you're looking for a family-friendly getaway or a corporate retreat, Nordic Point Lodge has you covered. They offer a luxury outdoor experience with 5-star service. Check out the description below for more information.
Good day, good day.
You were easily the biggest pain in the ass guest I've ever had getting teed up for this.
Oh man, I don't even know how to work half this stuff.
Yeah, I noticed you're talking about old iPhones, new iPhones. You got headphones for this, headphones for that. Your girlfriend's on Zoom calls. I got like 2 miles of text from you. And then when I ask you if 6:30 is good, you say we're gonna have to cut her short. We got a rec hockey.
Rack hockey, yeah. Do you play
got-
rack hockey? You know how important those games are.
I know. We fired it up early for you. We'll roll out the red carpet.
Perfect.
We've got Daniel Stagg here, YouTuber, ice fisherman, and finalist on season 3 of the History Channel's Alone survival show. It's great to have you on, man.
Thanks for having me, man. It's a pleasure, honestly. You know,
So
two opposite. This is like bass fishing versus like bushman. Is that what it is?
yeah, well, I mean, it's not every day we get a finalist. Like when you were 45 days in the wilderness, was it more your mind that was turning on you, or like was it the food was
You
scarce?
know, it's more about missing the people and the family back home, I'd say, that really gets to you. You know, you think whether is it worth it or is it even worth the money sometimes, you know?
Yeah. I had to say something cool about you because we had the
Yeah.
last guy we had on's got 500,000 YouTube subscribers. He's a Bassmaster elite angler. The next guy
Yeah,
after
I
you is
seen that. I was like, I was watching that and I'm like, and then you come over here, just some guy from the bush, eh? Just
and
hanging
then
out.
after you to anchor this month's podcast is a Stanley Cup champion.
Who's that? Is that
Yeah,
Buff?
you'll have to find out. No, it's another one.
Oh,
It
oh,
might not be
another
next week.
one.
It might be the week after, but we got him teed up.
Oh, perfect. Well, I'm glad I could be kind of the main event in between. I guess that's what you would call it, eh?
Yeah, I made up the alone part in case anyone watching is all fired up. I've been watching that show a lot lately, and
Oh, I
actually,
got into that show too, man.
it was your winter camping. We're gonna get into that part, but your winter camping YouTube video that I was like, oh, this is cool. And then I remembered about alone, and then because I feel like you'd do decent there.
I don't know if I would, man. My my camping is more like glamping, but like we've come a long way since then, I guess you would say. But
Yeah,
oh, I'm like sleeping on coolers to like not even planning a camping trip and then just spontaneously be like, okay, let's flip over the sleigh, let's bring it in the tent, and let's sleep on it. Like
yeah.
just oh man, just luxury nowadays. It's crazy.
Yeah, that's a mint setup you've got. Now, when you started winter camping, like I'm a huge opponent to winter camping. Like I've taken that stance just only because I live in a pretty civilized area, and like I'll be driving down the ice road on Lake of the Woods and guys will be like winter camping right on the bank of the
Oh
ice road
really, eh?
just
Oh,
cuz,
that's
there's been such like a uh like a YouTube push for it that everyone wants to try it and whatever. I did it once and I'll never do that again. But like you boys in the north like do it for real, right? Like you do it as a utility at times.
Well, half the times you have to drive like 40 miles down the lake. And then, so if you want to be there for prime time, you're not going to be home till like 12 a.m. in the morning. So it's like you may as well just camp there. And then you get the morning bite when you wake up. So,
Yeah. No, it actually makes sense. And like folks are going hard at it. It's not going away.
yeah. Oh.
And you got this badass setup that you tow. It's going to be hard to explain on a podcast. Like, they'll have to go check it out
Oh.
on your YouTube channel.
Yeah.
But
Is there any way you could post a picture in here? Like, I don't have
yeah,
any pictures, but maybe you could edit, like, I'll send you over a quick video or something. But yeah,
yeah,
like
well,
the sleigh is basically just a floor that you fold up, and that's your sleigh that you put all your camping, your tent, your wood stove, and then you just take like a little tub that you go to the shore with, and you you have a little chainsaw with you, and you go grab a tub of wood, and then you go back and heat up your shack. Oh my goodness, cook some pizzas, right?
I saw that. The bottoms were a little dark.
Oh my god. I was wondering if people would notice that. The one was underneath there. It was just black and I'm like, "Oh my goodness. Can people even like see that?" But
Oh
there,
yeah.
my first call out right there. Perfect. Right on a podcast too for other
Oh, you
people
got nice
to know.
subscribers then. People that follow me would have cyberbullied you immediately for that burnt crust,
Oh, that's
trying to sell it as
hilarious.
edible.
Yeah, absolutely.
But no, for real, man. Missed you at the ice show this year, and I was having a drink with Kevin, and
Yeah.
he was telling me a couple stories about you, and I was laughing my ass off, and I was like, "Oh, probably be a pretty
What
ideal
were those
podcast."
stories?
Yeah,
What were those stories? Are they allowed to be told on here?
if I remembered what they were, I'd tell them on here. But yeah, no, it's full breach on here, bud. Say whatever you want, but
Yeah.
um, but yeah, thanks for jumping on. I reached out, and I'm glad you could squeeze us in between your deer hunting and your demanding rec hockey schedule.
Yeah. No kidding, eh? Just straight off. You know who do you know Nate's Bates?
I know Nate's Bates.
Nate's
I don't know
Bates.
Nate.
That's the rec hockey game we're going to. We're going straight to Lundar. Okay, so I just went to Stonewall for some parts today, and that's a 3-hour drive south. I'm coming all the way back here, home, drop off the parts, podcast with you. Then I'm going back with Nathan from Fairford up to Lundar on number 6 highway, which is about an hour north of Winnipeg here. So
You might have to
straight
winter camp
busy
in the
day.
parking lot.
Honestly, that's what I'm thinking right now.
um, I gotta ask. Everyone's thinking it. Nate's Bates sells. Their specialty is frozen shiners. They have absolutely beautiful frozen shiners. We're not allowed to use those in Ontario now because there's new bait regs. So we just get like the
Oh,
soggy
right.
garbage. But
Yeah.
when you go to a hockey game with them, is the puck drop a puck of shiners or?
Yeah. So those are the warm-up pucks. No. But yeah, that his baits are incredible, and I'm thankful because like 99% of the time that's who I go fishing with. So I just get like basically great minnows all the time.
Yeah, that helps. That helps. Um, well, I got to get your story a little bit because I know as much about you as anyone listening to this that's never met you before. You got your YouTube thing kicking off. You're up. I don't. Where are you at? Like you're in the north somewhere most of the time, right?
Yeah, basically. I'm it's called Dolphin River First Nation, and that's probably about 3 to 4 hour drive north of Winnipeg. And I live like right now I'm looking right on a lake. I live feet from the shore here. And I don't know if I should say this. I'm a commercial fisherman.
Yeah. Say
Is that
that.
okay? Do Pete?
We're
Yeah,
talking, dude.
I
We're talking
kill
about it.
fish. I kill fish for a living. And yeah, so that's my like everything that I buy, everything from fishing rods to snowmobiles to boats to everything. That's all commercial fishing. So my camera
And
equipment for everything. It's
And you're an
it's
angler.
and I'm an angler. Love angling.
So how long have you been a commercial fisherman for? Has that been like your whole
Basically, so yeah, so went to college for a weekend, and during the process, I purchased one of my dad's commercial fishing licenses, and halfway through the year of college, I decided I liked commercial fishing a lot more than the other stuff. So just started purchasing nets, boats, all that kind of junk to start off the career.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And you're gonna like the plan is to do that as long as you can do that kind of thing?
The plan, we'll see. Oh my goodness, there's so much corruption in the world that I can't even mention right now with like diversions. Have you ever heard of the Porter's diversion?
Uh no. It sounds like a Leonardo DiCaprio movie.
Okay, so if you ever heard the Porter's diversion, maybe some people here in Manitoba, it's it flows the Assiniboine River, and they open it when the Assiniboine River gets high and they flow into Lake Manitoba, which then Lake Manitoba flows into Dolphin River, which is here. And so a few, like 2011 flood, they opened it, and they made another diversion that like was supposed to make the water level go down in Lake Manitoba. And then so after Lake Manitoba, they opened this diversion, and it went into basically a marsh, which then drains into a little creek into Dolphin River, and so a lot of fish swam up that creek to spawn and then got lost in the marsh. So that took a really big toll on like our fish population here.
Yeah.
So like ever since then, it's just been year after year getting worse commercially. And so I've been trying to get into like guiding, like basically pike. Like that's how you see like the big pike. And yes, if you're wondering how I know where these pike spots are, it's because I was catching the big pike in my nets. So
Boom. I wasn't
boom,
wondering. I put that together.
boom. Yeah. That's how we know. And obviously, like generation after generation of like commercial fishermen being like, yeah, don't go set over there. You're going to catch a bunch of pike in your net. Pike like to wrap up your nets.
Mhm.
So, like, a lot of commercial fishermen hate them because it's like, why go after them? But, yeah, I try to release every big pike we catch in our net. My dad's like the old style or whatever. So he's like, don't, don't let go of those fish. Those are money. But it's like, this is my future. This could be my future, pops. You know, like
Yeah. I think a lot of people when they think commercial fishermen don't even think that that's a thought process.
yeah, it's yeah, it's not. It's a lot of the old timers, you know, where it's like keep everything like no catch and release. But
So
there's some good ones out there.
when you first announced a minute ago that you're a commercial fisherman, you had a lot of hesitation. Because you're also in part of the angling community. Do you
Yeah,
like do you get a lot of flack?
like not really. As long as I explain to people that like it's okay, I guess. Like it's not what you think it is, because a lot of people are like think like if you set a net, you're gonna catch every fish that hits that net kind of thing. You know what I mean? Like you can target it right down to the species of fish, right down to the year class you want to target, which like big fish are like the lowest on the price list. So like lots of like trophy anglers are like those dang commercial fishermen taking all our master anglers, but it's like we don't even want those big fish, you know, because it's
Yeah,
like
you don't want the old bull. You want the young steer.
yeah, because it's like you don't go to a restaurant and you buy a 30-inch slab of walleye, you know, you don't see them selling that on the plate.
Yeah, I'll get the pickerel ribeye.
Yeah.
That's how someone would order one. I'm not actually calling one a pickerel.
And obviously there are some bad apples out there that just either they're uneducated from their boss or they just don't know what the hell they're doing kind of thing. So
Yeah, dude, there's a lot of assholes with a rod and reel too that
Yeah.
wreak havoc and hardly get caught because there's the enforcement's so low. So, but yeah, it's when I go to Lake Winnipeg and drive for 10 miles and there's not 200 yards without trucks, like out of Chalet Beach. And I hear it all the time. You can't hurt a fishery with a rod and reel, and that's bullshit.
That's crazy to me, because it's like I'm up here, like maybe one other tent is here, and it's like somebody I know. But like you go down there and it just blows my mind. Like you go there at nighttime and it looks like there's a city on the lake. You know what I mean? Like it's crazy how much people are down there.
Yeah, no, it's wild, dude. But I mean, still seems to be quite a few fish there. It's still a destination to go fishing.
That's crazy. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, like folks that only fish Lake Winnipeg, like that place is not. You literally can drill a hole anywhere and catch walleye, right? Like there's no
Yeah.
like structure really to hang off or like. I mean,
It's
I'm
just a
sure you can hop around a
massive
bunch,
flat,
but
yeah.
like a massive flat. How long is that lake?
I think it's 150 miles or 200 miles tip to tip.
And you're at the far north end of it.
Like, no, I like saying North Basin. Like, I'm always like, yeah, fishing in the North Basin, but I'm actually like at the start of like the south end of the North Basin.
Oh, you're like in the soft north.
Yeah, I'm in the soft north. Still gets cold out here though. I actually have a
Yeah,
story of we rescued the army here one time. The army was like doing like some little I guess you would call it like Arctic mission or whatever, and it was like basic training.
yeah.
And then the RCMP called my dad's house. I'm neighbors with my dad, by the way, right here. And they're like, "Hey, can you take us to their location?" And we were like, "I guess so." And it was like this is like probably like 12 in the morning, right? And we get a call. We go out, and mind you, the next day we have to go like work, like lift our nets. And so we're just like on our last little bit of gas, and we dump it all in the machines, the bombardier snowmobile. And I go out there, and like this is in the spring, it's kind of dangerous, so I'm like checking every pressure ridge, like chopping around for the bomber. And finally we meet up with them, and this is like it's hard to describe to people like the remoteness of like Dolphin River to begin with, but then you go out into like the actual remoteness.
So
It's
what's
like
the population of Dolphin River?
like on a good day, maybe like 100 people
And
on
where's
a
the
good day.
nearest? Is there like a small store that has everything, like a gas station and that?
No, like
Oh,
not
okay.
even that, dude.
Like
Like
where
we
do you have
gotta
to
go.
go to get groceries?
Like the nearest grocery store is probably like an hour drive if the road is good, and then same thing for gas, about an hour
Okay,
drive.
you're
Like
remote.
yeah, pretty remote, yeah. So yeah, so we're remote, we're out there, and I'm like traveling down the lake, right? And all of a sudden I see like one light, two light, three light, and I see just like this city of lights. There's probably like maybe 25 or 30 of them out there. And I'm like, what the heck? Like I didn't know what we were getting ourselves into. And then so we pull up, and it's the army, yep. And there's like I think what do you call them, sergeants or whatever. And
Sure.
the sergeant is just absolutely screaming at me, being like, "Get out of here! This is like the Canadian Armed Forces premises. You shouldn't be here." And I'm like, "Man, like you guys are the one who called, man. Like I could go home right now." Like just being a bunch of fucking assholes. I'm like, okay, whatever. And then so as we were waiting there, like I pulled up to them and they're like crossing a pressure ridge. And as they were crossing a pressure ridge, a snowmobile fell through. Like the last snowmobile in line fell through. And the reason why they fell through is because I guess they fell asleep while they're like checking it, and they woke up and they're like, "Oh, got to go to the other side." And I guess they just basically drove into the water.
Oh no.
And that's our Canadian Army. Yeah. And so, anyways, so the first rescue call, some guy like shattered like basically this whole side. He fell through like. Have you ever heard of like hanging ice? Hanging ice is like, for the people who don't know, is like you have a river or like whatnot, and then it freezes in the beginning of winter, and then the water goes down,
And there's
and
a
then you just
void in
have,
between.
yeah.
Yeah,
Y-
I've been
and
through some
they're
of that
they're
shit
doing
on a
morning,
beaver pond.
yeah, absolutely, and they're doing morning patrol, and I guess one of them fell through there and I don't know, got clotheslined by the ice or something, smashed really good, so we had to rescue that guy. And then the other people fell through, so there's two people like currently dying of like hypothermia.
Oh
And so
man.
the bomber arrived there, and then we drove back. And my dad was telling me that the other sergeant that was with him looked at him, and tapped him on the shoulder and says, "Your country thanked you for what you did." And we didn't see a dime for like any gas for any of our time. There was a, excuse me, there was a news article saying, "Yep, the RCMP went to go rescue the army. We're so thankful for the RCMP." And two commercial fishermen. Oh yeah.
Glory.
So
Glory days.
that's one of our stories
Man, I've
here.
had that like like not I didn't rescue anyone from the military, but
Yeah.
there were these four young kids, like I don't know, maybe 16 years old, driving across Clearwater Bay. We were out on the night bite for trout, like last light,
Yeah.
and this chick had like a 40-horse tiller, and she like was standing up and messing around a little bit, and it jacked one way. She went in, the skeg caught her like between her neck and collarbone.
Mm.
Then the boat like spun around, and we're watching this. So we fly over there, and these kids are like just every one of them was just straight in panic. Lift the girl into,
Holy crap, dude.
yeah. So we lift the girl into my bass boat, like out of the water. These kid, like this one kid's like, "Call a helicopter, call my mom." They're
Oh
like, "No,
my.
like here's what we're gonna do." So we meet, call the ambulance. They with the police and everything, navigate them to the nearest boat ramp because they didn't really have a clue. And
Yeah.
so we get her over there, get these kids to fall. Like my buddy jumped in these kids' boat because they couldn't even drive it. She was the only one that knew how to drive a tiller. So we drive them a few miles to the ramp and whatever, like do the handoff. She goes away. She ends up fine. Like she had a broken collarbone. It looked a lot worse than it was, but like she was in full shock, like didn't know what
Oh,
was going on. So like
this
we had
is
given,
Stag.
like our hoodies and everything, gave it to these kids, and like um then that was it. Like just know the article came out the next day or whatever, said this and that. No call from her parents, like no call from anyone involved. Didn't get her hoodies back. Just no love at all.
Oh man, that's
Like
horrible.
you put yourself up, like obviously anyone would do that, and the glory's not what it's about. But if someone saves your ass, you better give them a shout out at some point.
Oh, I can't even imagine a Skag just like with the motor running still, right?
Yeah, they were cruising down the lake like probably
Oh my
30 miles an
goodness.
hour.
That is
Yeah.
absolutely insane, man.
Yeah, she was like 100 pounds and just ran herself over with the tiller.
Hold on. Wait 2 seconds here.
Yeah. What do you got? Oh, did you get a plaque? The Winnipeg Ice Fishing Show Walleye Filet Championship 2021, first place.
I heard you won.
Well, it wasn't like they didn't have DJ Filet there. They didn't have the full spread.
Oh
They did
no.
like a hot wing eating contest instead,
A
but I
hot
had
wing
a
eating contest. Did you at least go in that?
no,
No?
no, I'm not doing that. I don't need to be. Oh, never mind. But yeah, so I had to do like some demos or whatever, and started challenging guys, and we fired up a good derby. but it
Oh
wasn't
yeah,
it wasn't the full contest or
the
whatever. But
full yeah.
what was your time?
Oh dude, my time was like late. Like I think I was like 41 or 42.
Man,
But like
that's lagging.
I know, right? I think like the year I won, everybody else messed up, and then I messed up. But I even forgot that one of the knives where I was sitting on the side of the stage, and I went running back, and then came back because I have two different knives. One's for like slabbing, and then the other's like just for skinning or whatever.
Yeah.
But I saw you were working with electric knife.
Yeah, but
Pretty
I
impressive.
I will defend myself. I did beat your ass last year with the manual fillet. You lent me a glove, so that helped.
Have you used a glove since?
Yeah, every time I use I call them my wife's gardening mitts. They're those big, dirty
Oh
yellow
man,
guys.
gloves make a huge difference. Like I was watching who are you in the competition with there? Gone, hey?
Yeah, he was the last one. Before then, there's a
Oh,
commercial
okay.
fisherman from God's Lake. Is that a place?
God's Lake, yeah.
Yeah, he was a commercial fisherman from there. I was like, oh, this guy's gonna whip my ass, and he goes to start off and just cuts right through the fish. Just
Oh no,
because
that's the
people don't
worst.
understand, man. There's lots of people in the crowd, and there's a couple hundred people watching.
Oh
Like,
man, like that's the thing.
your
Like
hands shake.
you cannot, there's no way you could like mentally prepare yourself for that. Like by yourself you could rip that like nothing, and then as soon as you get like even I'd say like six or seven people watching you where it's like this is it, like that's, especially when you're like so competitive too. I'm a really competitive person, so
Yeah,
it's like I'm just out there trying to give it my all, and then absolutely you could
the shake,
slice
the
right through
shake is
that.
legit. Like, I told uh one of the guys that panicked out because there was like a guy from a uh what's it called, like a colony.
Like a
And he
Hutterite colony.
yeah, yeah,
Okay, yeah.
he had like suspenders on and like all that. And he's like, yeah, I'm the fish cleaner. And he went and like was just shaking and went real slow. And he was shaking like a leaf. And I told him, I was like, man, like I've had, in high stakes tournaments with a camera on you. And like, I was like, I've
Yeah.
never shaken it more in my entire life than the Winnipeg ice fishing show fillet contest. It's the most ridiculous thing to say, but it's so
Oh
true.
man, it's so true though, because you're just up there and there's like 100, maybe, I don't know, 300 people
Yeah, there was
watching
a
you.
DJ last year, DJ Filet. That was sick. But
Oh
I had to go back and watch one of your videos because you know how YouTube is. You got to throw some clickbait at it.
yeah.
YouTube record or fastest ever recorded, and I was
Oh
like,
man, I gotta beat that. What was your time?
it was 27
27, eh?
27.34, but that's that's starting with the knife on the table. When I watched
Knife on the table.
yours was 30 seconds when it made contact, but I think you could do better than that.
Okay.
We should fire up like a YouTube back and forth.
Let's do it. I'm all for it. Oh, this is gonna be great.
You got a
Although
lot more walleye to clean than I do, though.
I don't think I've cleaned a walleye though in like a little bit. When we commercial fish, like this fall, we've been commercial fishing for whitefish. Do you know how to fillet a whitefish?
No, no. When it gets to that, the bone, like the bone and trout, pike, and whitefish, I really suck. Like that back
And white
angle.
whitefish are just like super soft too. We actually don't fillet them. We just basically take the gills out and gut them, and then that's it. The rest they just take them whole like that.
Well, when are you getting walleye? When can we do a derby? I'll probably be another like. I'm going to Minnesota this weekend, so I feel like I should kill some walleye there to kind of get revenge on the north side of Lake of the Woods for the last 80 years.
Yeah, no
When
kidding.
can you get your mitts on some?
Ah, holy. Probably not to like 3 weeks time. I'm saying just because
Okay.
it's so warm here, and like the brutal thing is like that little bit of cold spell we had froze the lake, and then it all like bunched up, and now we have like these huge, basically like icebergs
It
made from the
froze
waves
Lake
along the
Winnipeg.
shore. What's that?
Lake Winnipeg froze.
It'll like maybe an inch, and then it all like that's what it does. It'll freeze an inch, and then it all just breaks up and washes on shore, and then it'll create like these 6 7 foot like mounds of ice.
Mm,
And then
nice.
so like it basically blocks the whole lake from even like re-putting a boat in, luckily. And like the little bay here that we have where we do put our boats in is frozen, so we can't even put in a boat where we normally do. Like yesterday we had a boat out, but this one we just pushed in from the shore on like we did Egyptian style, and like ran all these like logs like this, and we just pushed her with the truck, and I hopped in and we just went crashing into the water. Like it's like little stuff you got to do like that just to like get out, I guess. But
Oh man, that is the most.
you wouldn't be doing that with like a Lund boat anytime soon.
Yeah, that lake in the winter is the most treacherous place I've ever seen and ever will see ice fishing. If you ever want like, if you ever want to know the toughest ice fishing equipment, how to pack it, um, what to buy, like that from Lake Winnipeg, like the folks know up there. Otherwise, you would just not be able to ice fish. Like you just break all your shit every day. Like I complain about Lake of the Woods and it's 10x on Lake Winnipeg.
And then you got those nice winter roads, don't you?
Oh, we got her soft here, bud.
Oh man, I wish. I literally think that every day. And like the worst too is like you have a cloudy day, right? And you know how you can't see any shadows on the lake? That I think
Yeah.
that's the worst. Like you'll just be driving, right? And you can't see like a huge snowbank right in front of you, and you crank that going like not even fast. Like you're only going like maybe 20 miles an hour, but when it surprises you at that, like it just cranks your whole neck down when you hit that.
Yeah. And you're in the middle of nowhere. Like you ever find yourself in some deep shit up there?
um yeah, yeah.
I
Last
bet.
last year we had I don't know. We ran out of gas, which was kind of dumb on our part. We ran out of gas maybe 15 miles out, and so like 15 miles away you could see like the town lights or whatever. So I rip back, go pick up a jerry can of gas. And so this is I have my phone, right? And I'm like, oh, I don't need my phone. I'm just gonna go deliver the gas to the bombardier because I'm on the snow machine. And I pick up the gas, put it in a tub in like like the back carriage or whatever of your snowmobile.
Yeah.
And we have these like fish tubs. And so I didn't have any bungee cords, so I grabbed a ratchet strap. First mistake, grabbed a ratchet strap. I ratchet to the back of the snow machine. And so I'm ripping out there going, I don't know, probably 30, 40 miles an hour. And I'm, I don't know, maybe 10 miles out. And next thing you know, all of a sudden the snow machine just hits the brakes, comes to a stop. I look back and like you could barely see it, but the ratchet strap is wrapped up in my
Nice.
snowmobile. And like this is a brand new snowmobile too. It was a 2022 Expedition. We just got, I think this was like a third time using it. So we didn't have like all our tools or whatever that you normally carry with, right? In
Yeah.
like the little tickle trunk there. And so I'm like, what the heck? I have no knife. I don't even have a light. It's pitch black out because I left my phone charging at home. I'm like, what am I gonna do? And then so I this is so weird though, because like one of the first times we went out, I was carrying a tub, same thing in the back, but this time we had bungee cords. There's this piece of wood and it fell out when I hit a bump, and it was like a little, I don't know, 12-inch piece of like firewood. And it fell out. And then another time that I drove by, I stuck it up in the snow, and that's where we happened to drive by. And that's where I broke down. And so I took the snowmobile and I grabbed this little piece of wood. I cranked it up underneath. And I'm like, what am I going to do now? I still can't see. So I'm digging around in my pockets. I find a lighter and I'm like flicking this lighter around, trying to see how it's tangled. And I'm just like basically a little flicker of images you're getting. And I'm like trying to figure this out. And mind you, this is like we didn't have many extreme cold warnings, but this was like dead center of like an extreme cold warning. And so I'm flicking my lighter around. I still can't see, and I'm pulling on this thing. Dude, I can't even get this. Like this is brutal. And so I flip it back down. I kind of like untangle it a little bit. I put it in like forward, reverse, nothing. Tilt it back up, play around with it for, and I'm playing around with this for like maybe half an hour, 45 minutes. And
Yeah, you
because
can't
it's
feel your
cold,
fingers anymore.
yeah, literally, it's so cold. Like I'm
You
just
just got
like
like
doing
two
what I
clubs.
can, putting my hands in like my pockets or whatever, doing a little bit. And then so finally, like maybe an hour and a half. And mind you, like I said, what, 15 miles?
Yeah.
Like I'm out 10 miles. I look back, I'm like, should I walk home? But like my dad and my brother are out of gas in the Bombardier. And
Yeah.
I don't know how far I am to begin with. So I'm like, do I walk with this jerry can? Like, who knows? I could only be like 5 miles. I could be 10 miles. Like, I don't know where I'm going. With this heavy jerry can, should I walk to the Bombardier or should I just book it back home? I see the lights, but like it's pitch black. There's like 3 feet of snow out there. I'm
Ugh.
like, what would you do, man? And like this is another thing that was in the back of my mind is like these are like commercial nets, and out here in like the remoteness, you have packs of wolves running around, like, and they only go out at night. So you have these packs of wolves, an extreme cold warning. You have either 10 miles to hike to the Bombardier or potentially 10 miles to hike back home in an extreme cold warning. It's like, man, what do you do? Like, you just got to do it, right? So I'm like, I'm just gonna stick it out here and just play around here. So I stick it out maybe another half hour, and I find like something breaks underneath. I don't know if it's the track. I don't know if it's like the suspension. Something breaks, but all of a sudden, like just I look down, and you could see the strap just laying there, and I'm like, "Are you effing kidding me, man?" Like as if I did it. So I rip it out, and I go see my dad. I show up there, and first thing I say, I'm like, you have no idea what I just went through to get here. Like, I thought I was gonna die. Like, I thought I was gonna
Yeah.
freeze to death out there. Like,
They were probably super pissed at you too.
you have, yeah. Oh no, they're like, what took you so long?
Because they're sitting out there freezing their asses off too.
But see, that was the thing. I was so scared for them too, because I was like, man, they're probably so cold. Like, I'm taking so long. Like, and so I get there, and like we have a wood stove in our bombardier, right?
Okay.
And so they're just chilling back, like they're having a little sandwich, like they're just enjoying life. And I'm like, are you kidding me, man? Oh, I forgot one part of the story, right? So as soon as I grabbed that stupid freaking rat strap, chucked it as far as I can. I maybe let a few f bombs go,
Weird.
and then so I'm driving. I have the jerry can of gas in my lap, and I'm like, there's no way I'm letting this thing, like, no way I'm gonna break down now. Like, I'm holding this right here in my lap. Like, this isn't gonna get tangled. Nothing's wrong. I'm driving. And I'm like, get maybe 3 more miles down the trail. The machine just shuts off. I'm like, are you kidding me? What now? So I checked. The first thing I checked, like, did I bump the kill switch or
Kill
whatever?
switch.
Check that. No, the kill switch is up. And I'm like, what the heck? And I looked, and it's the emergency. What do you call those? The things
The
that rip
tether.
off. The tether. The tether came off, and I'm like, okay, the tether came off. Great. Where's the tether? And I turn around, and I'm like looking around, and it's dark, dude. I can't see shit. And I look around and I see this little like black thing just out behind the trail, like maybe like 30 feet. And I'm like, are you kidding me? That better be it. So I rip there and I'm like, okay, yes. So this time I start the machine, get there, and we made it that time. But oh my goodness, it felt like I was never gonna make it there. Like there was just like one thing after another. Like it was brutal, man.
Man, losing that tether is a big deal because it's not like it's a 25 horse Yamaha where you can just stuff a credit card in it or hold it out and go. Like those are
Yeah.
programmed tethers. Like my expeditions, all the new Skidoos have like the
Do you have an
learning
expedition
key.
too?
Yeah, I got a 19.
How do you like it?
Oh, it's mint. I got the
Oh, it's
the
awesome.
SC, so I got a winch. I use that all the time, like
Oh, really?
regularly.
Oh, that's sick.
Yeah, yeah, it's got the 900 ace. But like I've been out, I've done some dumb shit and like gone just me and my dog, like not even telling, kind of telling my wife where I'm going, like, yeah, I'm going here, and like she doesn't have a clue. And like gone up in the middle of nowhere, and I'm like, whoo, I'm putting a lot of faith in this 900. Like, because they're so
Yeah.
reliable, you just don't even think about it anymore.
Yeah,
And there's been
absolutely.
a couple of years ago, I was like, I was remote and I was coming back and it was dark and I saw the dog on and like he rides in front of me and like he leaned forward and his chest hit the kill switch and like it's gonna be the first thing you check, but like
Yeah.
for 4 or 5 seconds you are shit scared.
Yeah. No kidding. Oh my goodness.
Huh.
Just
Yeah.
countless.
That's wild. That story like literally made me cold. Like I can feel the
Because
fingers.
like what would you do in that situation? Like think of like there's a lot of people who ask me like, what do you do up there? Like how are you gonna call for help? Like if anything bad happens, it's like you don't, man. You just gotta rely on yourself and be like mentally strong to get yourself through stuff like that. Cause it's like you never know what's gonna happen.
Yeah. Like how dialed in is your kit in your sled now after that?
Uh Probably still not that dialed, but we carry a knife though. A knife would have helped. And
Yeah,
yeah, don't leave your
flashlight.
phone at home. A phone even like even if there's no service up here, like a phone, dude, like because you have GPS, a flashlight, those are like two big things if you get lost in the bush, man.
Yeah. Yeah, I'd say. Pretty frickin' major. Those wolves up there that you mentioned, do they, like are they I don't know. All the wolves around here are shit scared of us, and I'm sure that's
Yeah.
usually the case, but, like, are you up there enough where they're, like, they'll fuck with you a little?
See, obviously, you don't really test it out, but like there's been some stories of like trappers, especially right now, because it's like I know my buddy Nathan, he's guiding or whatever, some whitetails, and his hunter shot a wolf or two of them actually, and they're both kind of mangy. So like right now, I think they're like on the what do you call it the decline, I guess, the population decline, and when that happens, you get
Nature's,
like
like, culling them.
yeah, like they kick each other out, so there's more lone wolves, there's more starving wolves, and that's where it gets pretty like sketchy because like you hear some stories of like trappers where it's like they're out in the bush and they're confronted by a wolf and like they yell, they scream, and like these wolves don't do anything, and then luckily they're at their machine or like have a gun, but like I didn't have a gun back there, like there was like
Yeah.
I didn't even have a shovel. One time I broke down. Another breakdown story. Look at this. One time I broke down. I was out. I was only like 2 miles from home this time. I was ice fishing, but I was ice fishing in a whiteout, right? And so I leave my tent out like probably like 75% of the time out on the lake. And so I snowmobiled out to it in a snowstorm, and I set up and I fished for the evening, and like a lot of the times I'll fish right till like 12 a.m. sometimes because it's just like it's either sit here and watch TV or just hang out in the ice shack. Like
Right.
So this whiteout, and I parked the snowmobile, I guess, like weird, like into the wind, and Lake Winnipeg whiteout, it filled my snowmobile motor with like just like packed. And so I went to go pull the pull cord, and it was like it wasn't frozen, but it wasn't like catching because the little like notches inside like the wheel or whatever
Yeah.
wasn't catching. And so that was like one of the times that I had to walk home. But I had a shovel with me because I was like, what if these wolves find me in this whiteout? At least I got a shovel.
Yeah, wolves
Uh,
scare the shit out of me. Even though, like, there were a couple times with Gussie, like where we'd go set up wolf bait. He always would guide for him.
yeah.
I'd go help him once in a while, and it was like, you'd have to set up all these dead deer and moose and everything, and you'd put a guy in the blind, and like they'd sit on their ass for like 5 days to get a shot at one because they're so smart and so
Yeah.
cautious. But like even knowing that at the same time, like if I go into like an ash swamp, like there was one time where I went to get some wood. I went into an ash swamp. There was like 3 feet of snow. It was one of those freak years. So I plowed the
Oh,
wide
man.
track in there, and I always have my dog with me when I'm messing around in the winter. And he wouldn't get off the sled like once, like just sat
Really?
on it. Like he got off just to let me get off and then climbed
Yeah.
right back on. I was like, oh, that's weird. So whatever, cut a tree, dig it out of the snow, buck it up, throw it in the sleigh, run back to the cabin, and I was like, "Okay, I'm gonna go get another one." So I went back, like, I didn't split it or stack it or nothing. I just dumped the sleigh and went back. So like under 10 minutes. And when I got back to the swamp, the whole sled trail was full of wolf tracks.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, man.
So that whole like while I was in there, the dog knew it. I didn't.
Yeah.
And but like you're in the middle of a void, and that like I don't know how many wolves were in that pack. Like, it could have been 3 and just made it look crazy, but it was
Yeah.
probably a mega pack. Like it was a highway on that one trail.
Oh,
'Cause now,
man.
now they can walk through it. But I'm like, how many of these things were just watching,
Just
staring at
watching
me
you.
the whole time?
Oh, my goodness. That gives me chills, man. Just,
Yeah. It was freaky. I bought one of those, it's called a backpacker 12 gauge. So it
oh, really?
yeah, it's just like and like if a wolf wants to eat you, your little 12 gauge isn't gonna do shit. Like you're
you might,
especially if there's like 10
you
of them,
might
you're
get
toast.
one of them.
Yeah, like might wound one. Like, but I bought it and it folds up and I can fit it in that box because I got the small box on the expedition, but you can still fit it in there. Like it folds up to
Yeah.
nothing. And I bring that with me now. It just makes me feel a little bit better, but I'm still screwed
Yeah.
if they
Oh,
decide.
100%.
I think there's been enough like generations of guys cracking them that they're smart enough to know, but it still freaks me out, like especially where you're at, like up north, because it's like, well, how far north do you have to go where that evolutionary part like hasn't caught up with them yet?
Like where it doesn't even matter, where they've probably never even seen a human before. Like,
Yeah.
they're
Yeah.
like, oh, what's this? Is this just like another prey or, you know?
Yeah. Eat that thing. He's walking. He's broken down again. His dog hit a kill switch.
He's broken down again.
Can you imagine trying that shit back in the day with like a 377 dual carb Safari? Like when
Oh,
that's all they had?
goodness.
Like how often were those guys broken down? It must have been all the time.
Oh, man. Do you know what a Elan is?
Oh yeah, 250 single?
Yeah. Oh man. Like even just driving around those, like the res dogs here chase you, and they like the res dogs run faster. So you're like this little kid, man, on this like little 250 driving by these like res dogs, and they're just like nipping at you, and they won't leave you alone because you can't outrun them. Like imagine if that was like a wolf, man. Like
Yeah, you're dead. Those things, oh man, my buddy had one of those when I was like in high school, and you'd have to like fire it up with ether because the breather for the carb was right at your nuts. This thing would backfire right onto the family jewels like constantly.
oh my god.
Yeah.
Ether, eh?
Oh yeah.
Oh,
The Elan keep alive.
Yeah.
It might have even been an Olympic. It was one of those old like boner nose sleds. I couldn't
Driving in the
imagine like
summertime because they have the bogeys, eh?
yeah. Like on Trailer Park Boys when Corey and Trevor are driving it to the bank job.
Yeah.
Oh man. So you're going hard at the YouTube thing for the last couple of years. That's where I first know you from. My buddy Sean showed me a couple of your pike fishing clips, and you were saying like give him the garlic or what. That's the best line I've ever heard.
Yeah, I don't know, man. Like I said that maybe a couple times, and it's like it's just little things that you don't even notice at first that people just pick up on it and they're like start saying it and really surprises you sometimes. But yeah, I've been grinding away there. Like what last winter I finally got monetized. And then of course I dropped one of my cameras in the in the lake this spring, so I couldn't even do anything. And then so I bought a new camera. I had another one stolen from me, and now all these new cameras I have, they're not compatible with my old piece of shit laptop that I have. So it's like so hard to like edit anything nowadays. Like my sleigh video or whatever, like 90, actually I think all of it besides the aquaview footage was on my iPhone. So
Yeah.
like that's and that's one of my that's so stupid, man, because that's one of my best viewed video by far,
How
which
many
is
views does it have now? The last time I looked, it was like 25,000.
I think I think it's at 54 now. Like it's just stupid.
Yeah,
Like
you're gonna make a few.
I might not post another fishing video on the channel. Like if people want to watch me not catch fish and just camp and eat burnt pizza, I'm fine with that. Like if people want to do that, like I think
Yeah,
I looked at the ad revenue too, and like I'd post like little shorts here and there, and like it'd be like 50 cents. Like I think the most I seen it before this was like maybe at like $3 or $4 when I posted like 2 YouTube videos in a row.
yeah.
And like now it's at I think like $200 or something. It's like I'm like showing my friends and I'm like, man, I am rolling in it. Like this is insane. Like
YouTubers love winter camping, man. There's a reason guys are
I
going
guess
through it.
so, yeah.
They're earning it too. Like winter camping, unless you got yours set up, it really sucks. Like you just wait. Like you got a wood stove in yours. That's a huge up.
See, and wood stoves, like I've had like especially in like the double like the Monster Lodge there, the double hub, like I my big buddy heater couldn't heat it. If it was like past -20, you're like barely staying like above zero in there. But like I've been out there like wind chill, like -40 to the point where my chimney's blowing over because I don't have it tied down. And it
Yeah.
is boiling in there. Like I've melted because like the heat rises right in your tent, like all the hot air up there. I melted my fan up there that was hanging because I got it so hot in there. But like the wood stove, man, like is just so nice to have
Yeah, you need to
in
suck
the
some of that
tent.
moisture out of the air. Like all propane does is put more moisture in the air, unless you have a
And
vented
you
heater.
dry out like I just take off my bibs. I just hang those up. And like if you go outside fishing from being on your knees and they get a little bit wet, like you just hang it up 20 minutes, man, and it's dry as a bone. Like what like
Yeah.
and
You could
everybody's
still be out there
talking
from
about like
last winter trying to dry off with propane. Like it's just never gonna
ugh,
happen. And that's the worst part about winter camping is just the sog.
the sog. Oh, and then you
Yeah.
wake up with a sore throat. And then
And then
actually one of my most like number one things with winter camping with propane is like falling asleep, man. Falling asleep is like you're inside and you're just laying down in your sleeping bag and you're like, am I even gonna wake up? You know? Like there's
yeah.
that constant anxiety of just like and then you just like half like you in the middle of the night just like wake up. You're like, okay, good. I'm alive. Like
Yeah. Well, even just sitting there for the day, you get the propane sleepies. That's
yeah.
what we call them.
See, and like I didn't even know that was a thing before like I started watching other YouTube videos because it's like there have been times where I've just been alone, like out here in the lake, and I'm like, I just had like a nice like 8 to 10 hours sleep this morning. Like, why am I tired? You know, and you don't think of it. Like it's crazy.
Yeah. Huh. Well, you're the winter camping guy. If I go winter camping, it's going to be with one of your setups. But at that point, you may as well just build a damn cabin.
Come anytime.
Yeah, I got to dabble in some of these pike you've been catching. Like
Yeah.
that's pretty wild. Like you got that part. There's no one catching pike like that anywhere.
Yeah. Well, I like to argue, and well, I mean, obviously, there's no one to argue with, but I like to say like it's probably one of the best drive to places. You know, like you have like all these northern lakes, and people
Mhm.
are just driving right by on number 6 highway here, and they don't even know it. You know what I mean? Like they instead of driving another 5 hours north to like say Baker's or like any of the other like Lynn Lake up there, where they have all the pike with Cusco, and they're driving right past here being like, hey, because like some days you're out there and like there was one day where me and Nathan couldn't keep up with two flags, like Nate's Bates Nathan.
Yeah.
We couldn't keep up with two flags. It was like set one flag, go to the other one, set that one, go back. Flags popped already, get that one, release a fish, the other one. Like you just sometimes it's just mayhem. And like obviously it's not every day because like you get spoiled sometimes and you're still getting a flag every like half hour.
Oh
But
my.
because you've had those days where it's like whatever and you're like, oh man, it's pretty slow, eh? Like
And you're gonna do some guiding up there now?
we're gonna try, you know. We're we're in the works right now of getting the whole legal business down and whatnot. Right now it's just kind of taking out friends and family, stuff like that.
Nice. Is
So
it good all winter?
it's
It's obviously
really
better in March.
it's yeah, March and April's like that's when it's just like unreal time. And then you know, I don't I've never fished really like February, January. We could always put like master anglers on the ice usually in February and January still, but it's just not as hot and heavy as it is in the spring.
Hmm. I'm coming one of these days before you get too big.
Make sure you bring a working snowmobile.
Yeah, I will. I'll probably bring a flashlight too
No
and
ratchet
gas.
straps and gas.
All right, man. Well, I know you got a big rec game coming up here, so I won't
Yeah.
hold you any longer. But check out Stag on the Line on YouTube and on Instagram for big fish and funny ass content. Keep it up, man.
Thanks for having me.
All right, bud. We'll keep in touch. Take care.
Take care.
Bye bye.